Alrighty, so I thought we'd do something kind of different, take a different spin here and try something different. So what I thought we'd do is, I thought we'd just go through some various ways we can actually customize up a terminal. Now what you see here is, this is kind of basic terminal that we get initially on setup. So I'm kind of using Linux Mint, which is obviously based on Ubuntu. You see this guy here, so that kind of shows it. So basically this is kind of the default terminal we get, and I'm using GNOME terminal at the moment since I am using the Cinnamon environment. So GNOME terminal is kind of basic at this moment in time. It's not too bad because it's not like something we'd get on Debian where we get a really kind of horrible looking, really basic kind of horrendous, just kind of black and white, really basic terminal screen. This at least gives us like kind of nice colours and a nice kind of default font and stuff. So what we're going to focus on is, we're going to focus on a couple of things. We're going to focus on changing fonts, we're going to focus on changing colour schemes, and we're going to focus on like a various different kind of shells that we can install. Like I say, this is going to be slightly aimless since I'm kind of going to be just kind of doing it. I've not really prepped this beforehand, so expect things to break because they probably will and not work the way I want them to. But okay. So first thing we can do is we can change our font. So I'm going to go off the bat and I'm going to say straight away, I know F all about typography. I just kind of look at a font and I kind of think to myself, that looks fairly nice. So like purely my judgments right now are going to be based on that font looks kind of cool, rather than this is a good font for because it all looks nice, or this, that and the next thing, because I have no idea. Really when it comes to fonts, I just think it's nice to kind of jazz things up a wee bit and kind of make things look better. So I'm a kind of guy that can't tell the difference between Helvetica and Arial. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the colours. We're going to change the font here. So what you'll see is right now we're using the system fixed width font. Now the system fixed width font is this guy here, Ubuntu Mono. If you're using Ubuntu anyway, that'll be your basic font. If you weren't using Ubuntu, you'd probably be seeing this guy, which is Monospace, which is horrendous looking. So be thankful that Ubuntu takes some of the pain out of it for you and installs a default, a nice looking default font. So all the Ubuntu family is quite nice. The default fonts are quite nice for even Word documents and stuff are quite nice. So okay, cool. So we have a couple of pre-installed fonts that we can actually use from here that look quite nice. Still can't spell. One of which is Droid Sans. So Droid Sans is really nice and provides quite a nice look. So we had Droid Sans. We see it's kind of similar to Monospace, but it just looks a little bit nicer. Again, it's these things come down in personal preference. So it's like, you see a font and you look at it and you think, well, that's the font for me, or whatever. I mean, that's kind of what it kind of comes down to. There's another one in here that's quite nice called Deja Vu Sans Mono. So Deja Vu Sans Mono gives you a kind of nice feel to it, a nice kind of basic kind of look as well. So there's a couple of additional third-party fonts that we can kind of install that are quite nice, and the two that come to mind, I've actually installed one of them here already, which is Inconsolata, which is quite nice. So I've got the preview of the font up here, you can see it here. I'll include this link in the description below so that you can kind of see it, but the Inconsolata font is quite nice. They're typically actually used for programming rather than anything else. But it's quite a nice font to just have in the terminal because it's got a nice kind of rounded look to it. So it's kind of similar to the one that Windows uses, which I can't remember the name of it right now. Calibri. So I'm probably wrong in saying that, but I think it's got a kind of Calibri look to it. But yeah, so basically think of it as for what we want it to be is kind of Linux Calibri font. So if we select that, we can kind of look at that. I've already pre-installed that. So basically there is a Git repo where you can get this from, so it's easy enough to get that So if I do a search for it, Consolata and GitHub, so you can get this bad boy off GitHub. In fact, tell a lie here, this can actually be installed straight from a repo. So the package that you're actually wanting is fonts-inconsolata, which will let you install it. So once it's installed, you can then select it. Now you've got a couple of options here, and I actually like bold. So this is a regular one, and a regular one looks quite nice. But I'm a big fan of the actual bold one, because I think it actually makes your, especially if you're working in something like Vim, it actually makes it look quite nice. And I know that probably selecting bold from a typography standpoint is probably wrong, because you're like drawing attention to every single word in the sentence, but fuck it, I'm selecting it. And that's getting applied, and you see that looks quite nice. So it looks a lot nicer than the kind of default font that was applied before. So what about, so fonts kind of changes things up slightly, so that's a slight change, things are looking a wee bit different, but we want to go beyond that. We want to make things look a lot more different. So how do we do that? Well, we can mix other things up. We can change the actual colours themselves. So the first we'll start off with the most famous one, which is solarized. Now, why did I open? I did have stuff open, and now I don't, because I'm an idiot. Right, so solarized. So here's solarized. So solarized is basically a kind of nice color scheme. You can see the tones here, and you can see the kind of ambient kind of colors that it uses. So as it's saying here, the same 16 colors are used in both these color schemes. So only 4 swaps are used between the light and the dark theme. So and most of these swaps are just related to the actual background itself. So it's quite cool. So you get that kind of between the dark and the light theme, you don't get a lot of variant. So it's a nice kind of theme to apply. It's got loads of editor support. So like if you're using Vim, if you're using VS Code, if you're using Atom, if you're using Sublime, you will find a color scheme to suit this. So you'll find it for the terminal, you'll find it for your text editor, you'll find it for anything. I can guarantee that Visual Studio, Xcode, NetBeans, code blocks, you name it, it'll probably have solarized. Someone out there will have made this color scheme for it. And this color scheme is pretty awesome, because they just seem to have a nice kind of balance between the kind of shades of colours that are kind of used and stuff. So as you see here, we get access to the full Git repo, but we don't want that. So there's no actual easy way to install this. I mean, we could do this, and we could go into profiles, and we could open profile settings, and we could go into colours, and we could start actually adding the colour palette manually, which is possible, but is failing insane. So what we could actually do is we could take advantage of the community, i.e. steal someone else's work. Well, not steal, the spirit of collaboration. We can take this guy Anthony 25's pre-existing nice bash script that he's got here. So this bash script will install solarized color scheme for GNOME Terminal. If you don't have GNOME Terminal, you probably want to go away and get one that's compatible with your terminal. So say you have Make Terminal, say you have Terminator, say you have Console. You want to go and you want to get one that's compatible. Right now we're using GNOME Terminal, so we're going to grab the we are going to grab this guy's Git repo, which will give us his script, which should automatically install the color palette for solarized. So what we'll do is we shall check out this repo. Boom. We shall cd to the repo because I've already got it here, and we can then install it. So what we can do is we can run a bash, and we can run install.sh. Do an enter on that, and we get some options here. So basically it's asking it to select a color scheme. We'll get a choice between dark, alternative, and light. So what we do is initially we select dark, so press 1, and then basically it's asking me here what terminal that I want to assign it to. For this moment in time I'm just going to assign it to the default one, which will actually change my default look. So press enter, and just have to confirm that these settings are okay, which are doing. You can see that I've taken on the solarized colours. A good way to actually confirm this and make sure that your colour palette is right is you can right click it and go to profiles, profile preferences, and look in colours. You can see that we have actually pulled in a colour scheme. What you could also do is there's a tool that is available called Colours Test, and you can run that, and that can also show you your system colours across the board. So in any terminal emulator that takes your fancy, you'll be able to run colour test, and colour test will show you basically all the colours that are available in your system. You can then install that using colour test. So colour test is a package name. So if you wanted to install that, you'd install colour test and you'd be able to check this stuff out. Now what you'll notice off the bat is that yeah, we've got some solarized colours, but we don't really see them used in much places, and that's what you'll probably find. Unless you're using something that's a colour intensive application, is probably not going to show much of an impact. But of course what you could do is you could update your prompt string. So if I print out my prompt string at this moment in time, you can see the colours inside my prompt string are set. So I could actually update these colours within my prompt string to reference some of the system colours up there, and that would actually change it. So it is really all dependent on how your terminal is set up and stuff. What we could also do is we could also install the light theme, which is worth checking out. So we have 3, boom, and we say default again because we want the default colour scheme to change. We OK that, and you can again see that we have changed to the light theme. So that's quite cool because solarized looks a lot nicer than our kind of default terminal. But there's other ones you could try out as well. So there is another one called base 16, and I've already went ahead and installed this, so I'm not going to go through a process of doing that. But if you do a search for base 16 and then just the terminal you're using, base 16 made terminal, base 16 terminator, you will come, again thanks to the wonderful thing that is the open source community, you will come up against a GitHub repo or some kind of repo that has access to the colour palettes for your terminal of choice. So what we'll do is, I should have this folder already checked out somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So base 16 open terminal. So I've already pre-installed 2 of them. So I've pre-installed the light theme, which you can see here, which looks quite cool, and you can see the base 16 colours already taking effect at the top. So the base 16 theme also has a dark variant, which you can see here, and you get again see the colours taking effect here. So there's loads, in fact, variants on base 16, if you can see. So there's a couple that are quite nice. The tomorrow theme is quite nice. So if I do a bash, and if I install base 16 tomorrow, probably light, you'll see once I install that I've got an additional profile in here, and hit up tomorrow light, and you'll see there's not much variant in these, and the reason again is because you're not going to see much until you start customizing the prompt string, and we're going to come to that in a second. We're going to come to a way you can have a more kind of visual prompt string, and you'll then see how these colours kind of take effect. And if you've got something like Pimp, or you've got some kind of code editor going on, you probably will see a kind of difference in how things are looking. So what we can do is we install something a wee bit more radical. So if we install something that's a wee bit more radical, something like, say, this chalk, maybe this chalk light dark, and this chalk light, and if we install chalk light, that only slightly made a difference. So yeah, maybe a base 16 ocean one. I kind of just hit and miss here. I'm trying to get something that's going to pull in the palette, but kind of change it a wee bit so that we can see a wee bit. There we go. So you know, the ocean one kind of changes as well, but you can see that because as I showed, our prompt string here is pulling in the same colours every single time. So it's always going to be these guys that kind of get pulled in. So unless a colour scheme itself is radically different, you're not going to see much. But check out base 16, especially if you're using Vim, or you're using Vi, or you're using something that kind of uses the colours better, or you get kind of colour apps. I mean, you can see them up here kind of being pulled out on the output from the folder during our ls. Okay, so that's cool. So you can kind of see then kind of different colour schemes. So actually look into them and look what you can kind of do with them, because they look kind of cool. And I would definitely stick, if you're kind of not sure what you want, I would definitely stick with solarized, which is quite nice. And solarized, immediately you can see there's a difference. So solarized is kind of basic, might not be most colourful as one there, but it kind of gives you a nice kind of basic, steps out of your way and looks really nice. And combined with inconsolata as a font, it looks really nice. So okay, so what we've done so far is we've customized the font, we've customized the colour scheme a little bit. So why don't we try to actually customize the shell that we're using? Now right now you can see that, or you probably notice that I've been using a different shell during this whole thing. I've been using Zash, not Bash. So this is Bash here. I've been using Zash. So we can start using Zash. So what you're probably thinking, what is the difference between Bash and Zash? Well, Zash is a shell variant. So just think it like this: as you have different terminal emulators, you have no terminal, made terminal, you can also have different shells. So shells are just kind of way on structure that you kind of, like environment that you kind of use to interact and kind of type commands into. So in our case we were using Bash, so if we held Bash, that's what we were using, and if we echo the shell command, we can double check this. So by echoing shell we can see we're using Bash. We can also cat out etc past wd. We'll also probably want to do a grep on that, and our username is terminal, and we grep that. We can see we are using Zash. So as I said, my default shell is Zash. So what's the difference then with Zash? So what does Zash give us? Well, Zash gives us a couple of things. So if I try get here, you'll see that how Zash is giving us get completion, which is quite cool. So Zash will give us get completion. It'll also give us ls completion, which is quite nice. See that? So as a tab, it also lets me go through the various different bits and pieces. So what it also has is it has a nicer kind of history and stuff. But what we are going to touch on is, rather than touching on the features of Zash itself, we are going to touch on one of the nice things that Zash gives you. And one of the nice things you can install is this thing called Oh My Zash. Robbie Russell, this dude, who put together Oh My Zash. Now Oh My Zash is cool because Oh My Zash is going to jazz up our prompt string a little bit. So a couple of ways we install it: via curl, via wget. So let's just take a curl version. We could do either, to be quite honest. You probably want wget if you don't have curl. Let's let it do its thing. Boom. And then we provide it with our sudo password, and boom, and immediately what you can see is something's changed. Now base 16 GNOME terminal was a git repo, and what you can see is our prompt string is updating. And what's awesome with Oh My Zash is it shows us information about the git repo. We can see that we're in the master branch, and we could confirm that with a git branch command. Boom. So these match up. We would also see if there was files changed in this branch, and obviously X, which indicates if files are needing to be committed to the branch. So that's quite cool. So Oh My Zash kind of jazzes up our command string a wee bit, and already what you can see is, you can see that the actual solarized color system is coming into play with Oh My Zash. So you can see how the colors are kind of being applied here. So other things you can do which are cool with Oh My Zash is notice this. Now Zash is already cool because we can do get, and we can get autocomplete, but with Oh My Zash we can actually use the arrow keys to go up and down these results. So say I'm looking for get, but I'm like, you know, I don't want to do man get because that's going to take ages and I'm going to have to go in the rabbit hole that is a manual pages. What I can do is I can just do get, and I can do a tab, and I can actually tab down and get like instant suggestions for get commands. Hell, I can do this with ls, you know, and boom, I can actually use the arrow keys to go between folders. I do the same with CD. I've got nowhere to go in here, but say I had a folder, we just create awesome folder, or just awesome folder, and I did CD. I get awesome folder, but we probably need a second one to demonstrate this properly. Awesome folder 2, and if I done a CD, you'll see that I can then switch between two of them, which is awesome. So I can also use the arrow key to this, so I can use the tab key to go between them, or I can use the arrow key. So what's nice is this is quite a nice middle ground between a GUI and a terminal, because now you're actually like able to like use your right and left arrows to kind of go between things, which is quite cool. So it's giving that kind of navigation freedom of a GUI while still giving you that kind of fast responsiveness of a command line. So there's loads of other stuff that Zash can do in combination with Oh My Zash, but what we're going to do is we're going to show themes. You're probably thinking that is an awesome ass looking prompt string, but can that be changed? So can I have my own look? Can I jazz it up? Can I make it look even better? Well, you can't. Now, just as Bash has a profile and RC file, so does Zash. So if we take our ass back to our home directory, and let's say LSA to show our hidden files, what we'll see here is we've got a couple of additional files that Zash uses itself. We'll get Zash update, we'll get Zash RC, and we'll get Zash core dump and Zash history. Zash history is basically the Bash history, and just contains a history of what commands were filed off. But Zash RC is like a Bash RC, and this is the guy that we want. So if we do vim, if I would do nano, we do nano Zash RC, boom, and if we we'll see this Zash theme set. So Zash theme setting allows it to actually change what the Zash theme is. So the Zash theme is basically change what a prompt string looks like. So we do a little search, so you can see here to Oh My Zash themes, and you can see we can see all of them. So we can see all the different Oh My Zash themes that there is out there. So there's loads of them. So it really comes down to personal preference. I think we're going to take this guy because it looks fairly awesome. I like the way it's kind of got that wee kind of the prompt strings on the top part. You know, actually, fuck it, this one looks quite good. This blinks. That looks quite nice. In fact, you know what? Let's take this one. You know, go live life on edge. Right. So we take this blink one. You also notice that there's optionally you can set this to random. So you can set it to random. In fact, we'll show that first. So if we set it to random this guy up. So let's set it to random. And then when we hit Zash, you'll see that every single time we hit Zash, we get a different theme is loaded, which is quite cool. So this is a good way if you're not sure which Zash theme you want. Oh, well, that one's crazy. That's giving us a fortune every single time we're doing it. That's quite crazy. That would be fairly distracting, like I would think. Boom, and you can see them. And also while we're here, we'll actually change to one of the base 16 themes so that we can see it properly. So we change to base 16 light. Now you're seeing where base 16 light kicks in. So you're seeing that as well. So you're seeing how it all feeds in. Basically, you need to see a colour schemes take effect. You need the colour to be utilised, and Oh My Zash kind of does that in a prompt string for us. So it looks quite cool. Alrighty, so yeah, so we could also, so in there we can stick random, or we can stick a theme, and you can go onto the Oh My Dash Wikipedia page and you can go through them all. There's far too many to go through, but they're all amazing. Hell, if you feel up to the task, which I don't, you could create your own one, and you could customize it all the way from there. There's one last thing we're going to show, and that one last thing is we're going to show one other thing which is quite cool. We're just going to touch on it briefly. So what you can actually do with inside, right now I'm using GNOME terminal, so so I talked about other stuff that we could do. I talked about that there's mate terminal, there's all these different terminal emulators, but there are a couple that kind of do some different things. Now, one which I quite like is a Terminator, and you can install this from your package manager, and Terminator is quite cool. So what's cool about Terminator is that if you've ever used a tile manager, you love Terminator because you can do the same kind of stuff with it. You can split vertically, you can split horizontally, and you can run different commands off in each of these windows. So if you want to look like 90s hacker style, you can do that with Terminator. That's the guy that's going to let you do that. But yeah, it's good because you could have like a Vim window open here, you could have some kind of command line browser here, some kind of M player playing your music over here. So it's definitely good for kind of organization and stuff. So Terminator is awesome. It's also awesome because it stops you from having like 50 tabs open. GNOME terminal is bad for this. You're going to end up in two situations with default terminal emulators. You're going to end up with like 500 tabs open, or you're going to end up with 500 windows open. If you use Terminator, you can kind of keep it nice and compressed, and at the same time you can kind of see what you're sort of working on. So with Terminator, only thing is, as we mentioned before, your profiles are not going to be pulled in here. So my profile is similar to what I had, like the custom fonts we set up. You'll notice that's not been pulled in. You'll notice the custom color schemes have not been pulled in, but nothing stops us from, like I said, you just give a quick Google search, look for base 16, look for Solarize, look for these that apply to Terminator, and then you can add them in, and you can kind of use it. And like I say, Terminator is awesome because you can kind of open up like infinite number of kind of windows in here, and you can see different kind of commands at a glance. But you've also got like you can zoom in on one. So if you use to, like I say, if you use Tmux, it's kind of similar to that, only it's kind of, you could think of it as a GUI version of Tmux. It gives you that kind of nice kind of control over what you're doing. So basically that's, I suppose we've touched on some stuff here. So we've touched on some kind of basic customization that you can kind of do, and some basic ways that you can kind of interact with a terminal in a different way. So what you probably want to do is you probably want to look at customizing your font, as we mentioned. So that's Inconsolata, that's Droid Sans, that's Deja Vu Sans. You probably want to look at, you can look at Source Code Pro as well. You want to look at other colour schemes, but remember that the other colour schemes are only come into play once you have stuff like coloured output coming out, but they're nice to check out. If you use in conjunction with stuff like Zash, and if you use Oh My Zash, you can have nice prop shrines, you can have nice tab completion kind of going on in there and stuff. So there's other alternative shells that you can look at. There's stuff like Fish, which is an alternative shell, and there's a few other ones out there that's kind of up and coming. And there's a few other terminal emulators that are kind of up and coming. They're quite cool. I'm sure there's a few like ones that are upcoming. There's loads of terminal emulators, so you just want to kind of look out there and see which one kind of suits your kind of fancy. So there's Quake as well, which is quite nice because it kind of gives a drop down console, as we mentioned, Terminator as we mentioned, so again it's a case of just kind of picking which one that takes your fancy. But like I say, I like Terminator, and I think it does the job pretty damn well, especially when you kind of multiple tasks going on. Okay, so that was just kind of a kind of basic kind of look into customizing the terminal. It was feel like aimless, so now we kind of skated past this fairly quickly, so I'm going to stick all the stuff that we kind of went over below in the description, so that'll include stuff like the links, so where you can get like a solarized theme, where you can kind of get like base 64 theme, where you can look into Zash, where you can look into Oh My Zash. So I just wanted to kind of compress things really kind of quickly into this. So you'll probably want to do more digging, like you'll probably want to look into fonts more, you'll probably want to look into colour schemes more, you'll probably want to look into the features of Zash, maybe even other shells, Terminator, maybe even other terminal emulator, but it just shows how versatile you can kind of make this thing. So don't think you're kind of stuck with the kind of basics that are there. It's good to have a play around and kind of keep this thing and make it kind of personal to you.